I think try that. See if that works.
That takes us to your page.
Should it not? What happens?
There it is.
Oh, make sure your volume. If you're watching the YouTube video on the screen, turn on the
I'm gonna
volume.
mute it and then look at the chat.
I don't even see it. Did it pop up yet?
Yeah. Let's see.
Where? Oh, jeez, I gotta type that in. Okay. Don't go. Did we start yet? We're not started, right?
We're live, baby.
What?
The world is watching. All right, we're just waiting for people to trickle in. Anyone here yet?
Can y'all see who's watching, or you just?
Yeah, well, you see.
I see there's 6 people.
Ooh, Terrence is in the house. 6 people watching. You can't tell who's
until they comment.
Yeah, and I say we do roll call.
I was gonna say Shabuya Shasha, Shabuya roll call.
Hey Alexa. Hey
Shabuya
Alexa.
roll call.
All right, there we go.
Shabuya roll call, by the way, is like super 1990s.
That way to date yourself.
I don't really care.
Because we're all wearing beanies. You have to wear a beanie.
Yeah, you missed the memo. Each episode will have like a theme.
Where
like a outfit.
Cool. So I can look at the chat on that link.
Yeah, so we got 9 people watching. If you're tuning in, introduce yourself in the chat. Tell us so we know who's
your
here.
Name.
That'd be nice. Your name.
Terrence.
You saw that youth camp video for Terrence?
Yeah, dude. I just replied. I think it's on YouTube somewhere. Actually, I bet you can find the link like right now. It's on this channel probably. On my account.
10 people watching. Hey, Christy.
So our audio on the YouTube live is like 30 seconds behind?
Usually, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, roughly. Maybe 30 to 45, something like that.
I got it. YouTube Youth Camp
watching.
2013, Youth Camp 2012. Here it is. Youth Camp 2012.
Hey, Tiff Tom. Hey, Tiff Tom. No, Terrence, we don't have a sponsor yet, but if you want to pull something with the Warriors, we would love.
I found the link.
Take that corporate money.
Corporate money.
Are you working for Nike now? What are you up to, Terrence? Maybe you should have you next guest.
Hey, so are you guys doing this every single Friday?
Every other.
Every other Friday. All right.
Yeah.
I gotta remember to tune in now.
Oh, that's right. Salesforce. Nice. Sweet. All right, 12 people in the house. Just waiting for some people to trickle in if you're joining us. And the last time we kind of waited till we had I think we're in the 2025 zone. We knew some people were still coming on the way.
That's like how it is with my classes. Tardy.
Late.
Unexcused tardiness.
So far, we've only had 1, 2, 3, 4. Hey, Caitlin Donworth and Alex. If you're if you're tuning in, introduce yourself. Say your name on the chat. It's just
Or they can just say something and then their name will pop up.
say like what do you mean? Like just oh yeah. Oh,
So
just,
let's just say,
Caitlin Hollingsworth says, "I'm Caitlin Hollingsworth."
why don't you
Yeah,
introduce yourself by saying,
Sharing question. What do you do, Ian? Do you have a sharing question when your kids come in? Why are you late?
Why are you wasting my time? No.
let's see, what can we ask?
Or the 14.
Is this Alex Lee, UC Davis, Alex Lee?
Yeah, she said,
Yes.
hey, OG. I'm pretty sure that's her.
Hey, I don't know.
I'll wait a few more minutes and we get started. I just noticed you got the beanie on.
Gotta match everybody.
Well, it's like every episode we just do something like that and we never mention it.
Just put like little hints in.
Easter eggs. Yeah. And then we can have all recorded and we'll have DVD commentary, box set.
Yeah. We gotta do it like Chinese subtitles.
We'll have a Chinese episode, theme episode.
I don't know why in my head right now all I'm hearing is Ivan Sito going, John Hai. That's all I got.
Ison's here.
Hello, Asen. All right, I'm gonna say like that lag is like way more than 30 seconds. That's 16. I say, all right, I'm gonna call it at 20 with observers first. When you get 20 viewers, or if it reaches like 7:15, we're just gonna get started.
Yo, Kavina.
Kavina Mao?
If you haven't had a chance to say hi to us on the chat, say hi to us in the chat so we know who's up in here. That's awkward.
Aaron, you're a good host, Aaron.
Introduce yourself by saying, what is one restaurant you miss going to?
Rick, do you even teach? Come on.
What?
Was that Rebel Glen beanie?
It is. It was in the Lost and Found and nobody ever claimed it.
That's sweet. Limited edition. Gotta give me one of those.
If you're watching and that's your beanie, just comment on the chat. You can claim it right now.
Representing Redwood Glen Beanie.
Ooh, Mary Beth, Cindy Sue, hello.
Cindy Sue.
That's right. Who is up in here? Trademark.
Desmond,
Desmond.
who I believe knows how to play guitar because of Ian. Is that right?
Who?
Didn't you teach him?
I guess not.
Desmond?
I don't think he knows Desmond.
Oh,
Does he know
really?
Desmond?
I don't think I know Desmond.
If he was, he was really young.
Sorry,
What's
Desmond.
this
I didn't mean to be like, who? I didn't teach nobody nothing.
That's not true. You had a whole legit class at FCBC teaching guitar.
Okay, maybe I did.
On Alex, all right, kind of.
She had it inside her. She knew what she was doing all by herself.
You did brought out a little bit, you know, helped her on her journey.
You want to finish that sentence?
No, which one?
All right, I gotta stop heckling.
Yeah, guys, it's a 40-second delay, so it might not be like a quick response.
There's got to be a way to test the delay. When y'all hear this, type the word delay and hit enter on the chat. Right
1,
now.
2 Mississippi, 3 Mississippi, 4 Mississippi, 5 Mississippi, 6, 7, 8,
I've been counting for a while.
10, 11,
His beanie is a little itchy.
13, 14, 15, 16,
Nice to meet you, Desmond.
He's new around here.
4,
Oh, boom, 20.
20. Ooh. Oh, that's not too bad. 20
That's not
something?
bad.
Yeah, not too bad.
Good test.
Good test. Now we're at 19. One more viewer and we're gonna get started.
Change your beanie. It's too itchy.
It's because it's somebody else's.
I did wash it.
If you're watching, by the way, before we get started, if you you should have we're gonna do some Kahoot quizzes along the way. And so if you have your phone with you or like another device,
Do I play along?
yeah, you play along. You play along too. It's gonna be about some things that are near and dear to you.
Okay.
So it'll be Kahoots.
Although they're totally random, so you actually might not.
Are you gonna send a URL out?
We will.
Okay.
One of our producers will.
Got it. I didn't teach you how to play nothing, Alex Lee. You always had it inside of you.
Well. Oh, we just lost one person.
I think we should start before.
I know.
Before
it
it
came
gets
back.
sad.
We lost him.
Came
How many
back.
people are? Oh,
It went
eight?
from 19 to 18.
Oh, that was
Back in
Jackie. That was
19.
Jackie. The producer got tired of it.
Jackie
He left.
got bored. Walked away. There's nothing happening.
All right.
All right,
Sure.
well, yeah. Let's get started. Well, let me go back to my main screen. Hello, good evening, everyone. Thanks for joining us for episode 2 of our Youth Talks interview podcast style. Here we have our special guest, Ian Hung. Hi, Ian.
Oh, hi.
Thanks for joining us. Where's your clap track?
Oh, wrong one. That's the last time I'm gonna do
There
it.
you
Nice.
go. Feel free to use that all night. So yeah, thanks for joining us. For those of you guys who don't know Ian or kind of remember this dude, he has been a worship leader at youth camp. He's been a worship leader at Sunday service. He's been a Sunday school teacher, right?
Yeah.
Junior highs. Have you done senior highs?
I don't remember.
I think at least junior highs. Youth camp staff, youth camp counselor. What other roles have you done? Anything else?
Parishioner.
Barista.
Barista.
Remember those days?
I was a barista for a bit.
Welcome table.
So yeah, he's been a big part of the SCBC community for a while, and he started. When did you come to SCBC?
I started coming to TBC in 1997 in 7th grade.
How did that happen? How did you get connected?
So my older brother, Brian, who's 2 years older than me, he was a freshman in high school, and his really good friend is Lawrence Pang. They grew up elementary, middle school, high school together, and at some point, and when they were freshmen in high school, I think Law still does bells, right?
He still does.
Yeah, so Law was my
crazy.
brother's like best friend in growing up. And so around 9th grade, he invited my brother, who eventually invited me. And so in 7th grade, like I think the first day I went to church was Promotion Sunday. So like first day, everybody got like gifts, right? I was like, oh, this is great. Is this what church is about? You get like baggies of goodies. So I was
you
like,
didn't go to church prior to that?
no. I remember, I mean, we can get into this later, but like I remember always feeling like there was the presence of God in my life,
Mm.
from a younger age, before I ever went to formal church. I remember thinking about this idea of God, and then maybe even having prayed a handful of times. But coming on Promotion Sunday, 1997, was probably my first time going to church, 7th grade.
So you went to Sunday school first before going to youth camp.
Yep.
Oh,
But it was like, yeah, I think so. Yep. It was going to be, it has to be like September 97 or something like that.
Mm.
September 97, I'd be starting 7th grade. And then that next summer was my first youth camp, 98.
Mm. I wonder, I guess that's the first year we met, huh?
At youth camp?
No, I feel like we first met at I thought we met at Sunday school first.
Absolutely. I was taller than you.
That didn't live long.
I didn't live long at all.
But yeah, I remember you were one of the first people that I connected with, and yeah, that's just cool.
I mean, that was like Matt, you, Jackie, right? Rick at some point, but that was not till like that was in youth camp.
No,
I think I met you
Youth camp 98.
Youth camp 99, actually.
99.
Yeah.
Crossroads.
So Rick and I don't go back as far as you and I.
Yeah, 2 years, 90. Most of these kids aren't born yet. It's kind
of. So I guess what have you been up to? How's where what's life like for you?
Sorry. I moved to Northwest Arkansas May of 2000. What's it's 2020? It's May of 2018. So about a year and a half, 2 years ago, almost now. Actually, almost 2 years. Not May. We moved June of 2018. So in a few months, it'll be 2 years since we moved to Arkansas. And just a little bit of a timeline. A couple of years before that, Alexa and myself, Alexa's my wife, we had one kid at the time. We kind of stepped away from kind of full-time being a part of the FCBC community. I think at that time I was serving as a deacon of that service, and kind of just recognized that we had a 1-year-old at the time, and just recognized, hey, we need to kind of evaluate what's good for us. It was a lot, but we could talk about that in a second. But since then, I'm in Arkansas, which I never thought I would be, but also I think Arkansas would surprise a lot of people, especially the part of Arkansas that we're in. But I'm also trying not to sell it to y'all. You just got to visit and you'll figure it out. But I teach, so I was recruited to teach at the school that I teach at now, which is the classroom that I'm in right now. I was teaching at an independent school in Danville, California before that for about 8 years, taught in public schools before that. But then about 3 years ago, I met the folks that are building this school that's new here in Bentonville, Arkansas. And really what they were doing struck a chord with me, and also just where our family was at that point, living in the East Bay, and kind of starting to evaluate. We had our second kid by then, kind of evaluate what we wanted to do in life. And we were just ready for something a little bit different. Obviously we miss people like y'all. But it was certainly a blessing to move across the country to where we are now.
Well, I'm gonna actually, we have a Kahoot about Arkansas coming up. Don't let my producers get that ready. Send a link out in the chat. And that'll be our segue into life in Arkansas.
Okay.
What that's like for you. So, but maybe while we're waiting for that, what were some like the big, I know your biggest memory is kind of like the process of moving, because you've been living in the Bay Area your whole life, right? Up to that point. Like, what was like, kind of, was it hard? Was it like exciting?
Oh yeah, certainly.
Everything.
Hard and exciting, right? Because we were ready to leave the Bay, and no offense to the Bay, I grew up there, I lived there for 30 years. But as a family, we were kind of evaluating what our priorities were. And there were some other things too that we could get into another time, but it's just, there were a lot of different things that were pulling us into thinking, hey, is this what we want for ourselves? Is this what we want for our nuclear family, right? My parents are still in the East Bay. My brother lives in the city in the Sunset with his family. And so there were a lot of things that would keep us there and grounded there. My kids' godparents at the church we were going to in Berkeley, they're all still there, Berkeley, Oakland, SF, Bay. So there were a lot of reasons why we would or should want to stay. But I think for us, it was, hey, is there something else for us that we're not grasping onto? And a lot of it was honestly just leaning on the Lord to be like faithful to. What do we feel called to as a family? What do we feel called to as husband and wife and as mother and father to our children? But certainly the drive was ultimately, hey, We want to move. We want to do something that's a little bit different for ourselves. We want to be out of the city. We want to be out in nature a little bit more rural. And I was excited about this opportunity to teach at this school. And so it was kind of like a personal and professional decision, but really rooted in family, right? In faith.
All right, well, it looks like our producers have got the Kahoot up. So if you want to join in and you have like a phone
do I get to play?
Yeah, play along. Just follow the instructions on the screen. Go to www.kahoot.it or Kahoot app, and then use the game pin 6469035.
Alexa, play. If you're still tuned to this, Alexa, play. You know a lot about Arkansas.
So where we have Jackie.
I'm in.
Ian.
I'm good.
Terrence asked, does the winner of the Kahoot get a guaranteed get a round trip paid trip to Arkansas?
You should ask your hosts.
I said, if you get us that Salesforce sponsorship, then yeah,
Yeah.
sure.
I wonder how much it costs to fly out to Arkansas right now.
Probably not much.
Yeah.
Especially if you fly out of LAX or like Vegas, because Allegiant flies here for like $69 one way.
Whoa.
69?
It's like low cost carrier Allegiant.
Have you come back a lot?
I was back last summer for a week. I got to see Aaron. Wanted to see the rest of y'all, but I was only back for a week last summer. It was just me. It wasn't with the family. The family hasn't been back. It's kind of been this long transition, right? We're just trying to get settled in. And I think summer for teachers, Alexa's in. Summer for teachers is a time to like unwind, focus on the family, get settled into things. And so we certainly miss it. And we certainly have plans to come back and visit in the near future. I had a really like potent week back and I saw folks for like 24 hours and then I had to go because I was there for a training. So it wasn't like it was still a business trip.
7 players. One of them is me and Ian.
We have 650 Francis.
50 Francis in the house.
Which is Tiffy too. Is that I can tell that's my sister.
Terrence, you could fly from SFO to Bentonville. You could fly direct.
Who wants to
SFO
guess who
to
Ayad
Bentonville.
is? I think that's Ison.
I think that's Alex.
Oh, that's you're probably right.
Unless Ison's really clever. Stole our identity. Cat. Hey, Cat. Dez.
Are there people leaving? I feel like
Dude, I don't blame them. It's all good. No hard feelings, y'all. Who's 650 Francis?
that
is the up and coming rapper from
650?
650 from the area code
I was
650.
gonna say.
It's one of our youth.
Oh, what's up, Kyle?
Amazing musical artist. You can find him on SoundCloud and Spotify.
you can find him on YouTube.
And YouTube. And now Kahoot. All right, let's give another 30 seconds if anyone wants to join. Then we get started. 10 out of 20. We got 22 people watching. Yeah, 20 seconds left, guys.
Come on, we know there are more people out there.
If you want to get this potential round trip visit to Arkansas,
Y'all don't fly right now.
courtesy of Salesforce. But yeah, right, definitely not right now.
Let me check while we're waiting. SFO to
XNA.
X and
10, 9,
We looking on kayak?
7, 6, 5, 4.
200, 300.
Two,
Oh, that's real cheap right now.
1. 200 round trip. All right, let's
That's not
get
bad.
started. All right, things about Arkansas. Here we go. 3, 2,
2,
1.
Go.
All
Don't
right, Ian,
cheat.
you have home court advantage. See how well you know your state.
Oh my goodness.
State bird of Arkansas is it Triangle, mockingbird. Diamond, the ring-necked pheasant. Circle, mountain bluebird. Or the square, American robin.
Oh, I don't think I got this.
Even if they showed us the picture, I don't think we would even know.
I
You
don't
know
think
who
I
would know
even
is
know
River.
California seabird. Yeah, I forgot.
The pigeon.
Oh, that's Chinatown city bird.
That looks like a mountain bluebird.
Ian thinks it looks like a mountain bluebird.
But I didn't guess mountain bluebird. I'm already
I
wrong.
guessed wing.
Do you get more points for like guessing early? Probably not, huh?
I think I don't remember.
No, I don't think so.
You might as well wait for the picture to reveal itself.
Yeah,
There's
it's
no.
not like a scribble.
This does not look like a pheasant, so I got it wrong. Should have waited.
That's definitely not an American robin. Oh, more points if you answer early?
What? Really? That works? Huh.
Someone said more points if you answer early.
Our producer Jackie says so. It's got to be true.
It's a lot of time here.
We try to give extra time to compensate for the lag,
Oh, got you.
and so we just like
I'm sorry.
if
I'm sorry. I
we
don't
just want to
mean
give
be-
people enough time.
I don't mean to be a punk.
And it looks
Mockingbird.
like
Incorrect.
the answer is mockingbird. Sorry, guys. Looks like no one really. Only 2 people followed your advice for the mountain bluebird. All right, next question. Ooh, youth camp 12. Who's that?
Who's used
Is
Camp
Jack-
12? Reveal
Isn't that
your
Jackie?
But good job.
Oh, that's Terrence. Isn't that Terrence?
Good job.
12.
Isn't Terrence asking about the Youth Camp 2012 video?
Oh, maybe it's
probably
probably Terrence. My producer's telling us that's probably Terrence. All right, the official state beverage of Arkansas.
This
Do you
is
know
not
this one?
stuff we learned. This is not. They don't give us the
They
stuff.
didn't give you a crash course when you flew in?
They don't give us the stuff in the welcome packet.
No. Well.
Coffee.
Is it coffee, milk,
I mean,
apple juice?
I'm gonna wait to see the milk that's about to show up.
Whoever made this Kahoot decided to put the answer. Maybe that's just maybe it's a trick.
That's
It's
a
a
bottle of
Throwback.
really foamy root beer.
That's some nice coffee we have.
It's a latte, vanilla latte.
That's an Olay, just Olay. I think I got this
With
one.
that it's like this is the
You can
red herring.
tell.
I feel good about this one, guys.
Yeah.
You can tell by the timer that it's about a 30-second delay.
But shouldn't the game just pop up like on time if they're logged in on Kahoot?
Oh yeah, you're right.
No.
Yeah, I didn't wait.
The answer is right in front of you. Well,
Boom.
good job. Oh, Terrence still in the lead, or at least whoever Youth Camp 12 is.
Gotta get it. Oh, there's only one more question, man.
One
Let's-
more.
let's
Don't worry,
go
we
ahead.
have different rounds of Kahoot, so
But the points don't add up.
they
Maybe
don't.
you get
You're
your
right.
picture in.
I think you gotta get some of the score keep for y'all.
Question
All
3.
right, next one.
Oh, there's 2 different names for this.
Oh, really? Well, according to the internet, there's only one. People from Arkansas are called what? Arkansanians? Arkansanites? Arkansonians or Arkansans?
Arkansanites sounds like people from like the Bible.
There are Christians in Arkansas. I know at least 2. You know this one, Ian?
Yeah.
Yeah.
You
You can
said
tell us you can tell us the other one after.
But I'm still waiting for the picture to show up. Just kidding.
they're called cahoots.
It's gonna be.
There is one that people use called Arkansawyer. That's not on here.
Arkansas. Okay. Interesting.
Like Tom Sawyer, Arkansawyer.
How'd you learn that?
I'm Arkansan now.
Oh, he said it.
Boom. 10 enters in. Only one person can benefit from that.
Dude, gotta do a recount. Well, good job, the 7 of you guys. Now you guys know the longer you wait, the answer will reveal itself somehow. Looks like Caitlin, congratulations.
Oh, I think I got a chance.
650 Francis,
5-0.
killing it. Way to represent. And
Youth Camp 2012.
of course, you cannot beat Youth Camp 2012.
I just sent the link for that video, by the way. I'm in 4th place.
Nice.
I'll take it.
Well, You'll get the registration. Well, anyways, so speaking of Arkansas,
Yeah.
what's awesome about Arkansas?
You know, I got to be honest and say that so where we are in Northwest Arkansas, we're literally like 15 minutes from Missouri, like 45 minutes from Oklahoma. Like we're really in like the top right left-hand corner of Arkansas. And so I haven't been to a lot of it. I've been in just the bubble of Northwest Arkansas. And, you know, the University of Arkansas, which is in Fayetteville, which is about 30 minutes down the road, actually reminds me a lot about Berkeley. It's really similar to Berkeley. Those are kind of the hippie movement in the 60s and 70s. And so Northwest Arkansas, I don't know what people have as impressions of Arkansas, but Northwest Arkansas is different in some respects than the rest of the state. I have
no concerns.
I mean, you know, people have their impressions of the South, right? And they have impressions of like rural, farm, poverty, white, you know, racist.
I don't even think, when I think of the South though, Arkansas doesn't even pop up as one of them. It's just like Mississippi or
and I don't mean to just blanket those. I don't want to be insensitive, right? I'm not just saying like I don't want to throw out white and racism, but that stuff is also legit, right? Wherever you are, but also very real right here. But Northwest Arkansas, to answer your question though, Northwest Arkansas is very different than what one might expect. This is Bentonville is the headquarters of Walmart, you know, and so there is that. And also there's Tyson Foods right here, and there's JB Hunt, which is like this big shipping company. And so like, you know, 3 Fortune 50 companies are like right here, right? With Fortune 1, well, if you don't count Amazon, right? Like Walmart's pretty big internationally, right?
Yeah. Definitely.
So, I mean, it is still trying to be kind of that hub for business and commerce, but in the heartland, in the middle of the state, in the middle of the country. But you know, there are things here that I think would appeal to a lot of folks, like myself included, like you, Aaron, and Rick too. Like I was telling Aaron the other day when we were prepping for this, like the U.S. coffee roaster champion for like the last 3 years is from Bentonville. They sell coffee in Oakland, SF, because people like their coffee. The U.S. barista champion is here in Bentonville. It's kind of crazy, actually, that some of these things are here. It's definitely a bubble.
So if we came out there and visited you, where would you take us?
So one of the reasons why, so Bentonville has grown a lot in the last 10 years, like literally tripled. About 10 years ago, about 8 years ago, this museum opened in town. So if you don't know about Walmart, the Walton family owns Walmart, right? And each of the Walton heirs, right, the second generation, are worth dozens of billions of dollars, right? But they called this region, Northwest Arkansas, their home region. So whatever you feel about Walmart, whatever you feel about the business of the Waltons, here in this region, in the home region, their philanthropic arm of and their impact is generally positive, right? They want to bring development, growth, access, and things to this area. And so about 8 years ago, Alice Walton, who's one of the heiresses, like she had all this priceless American art, and she opened this this American Art Museum, like just about 5 minutes down the road from here. And it's a free museum that has all this priceless art. And so all these arts people started coming into town, right? And then like another 2 years after that, their grandsons, Tom and Stuart Walton, who are really into mountain biking, started investing a lot of their dollars into mountain biking, single track and development around here, like hundreds of $1 million of mountain biking in the area. And I don't mean to kind of go into this direction of like, oh, here's money and here's all this stuff, but it's kind of a trip because I would take you to the museum. I would take you outdoors and go mountain biking. I would take you to some of the good coffee spots, because in the last 3 to 5 years, and I don't mean to like just cite these articles, but like Outside Magazine, top places to live, 2015, 2016, 2017, like arts and culture, like it actually is pretty dope. Like there's actually a lot of stuff to do here that will surprise you. I don't have like 30 Mexican restaurants to go to, but I definitely have the 2 that I would take you to that are like phenomenal, right? You know what I'm saying? I don't need 30.
Yeah.
Right? I need the one, really.
No one needs 30.
I need the one. I need the one that I know the folks at, right? And so, I mean, I would take you to all those spots, but I mean, to really get to the heart of the question, I think I would introduce you to the people we've met since we've come here, because I think community has come much easier. No offense to the Bay and no offense to the community that I know here on the screen, but we moved because we needed to find more community closer that didn't feel like we need to get in the car and drive like an hour to get to.
Right. And that was tough.
And like I haven't driven over an hour in a long time.
Oh, nice.
I mean, only to get to like the Buffalo River and go explore in the national forest and stuff like that, you know, not like legit commute. Like, no, I drive 2 minutes to my house to, you know, I bike to work every day.
Mhm.
I like that.
How was it like finding community for you? Like, how did you go about like, what was your community
Yeah.
there now
Well, I
too?
mean, the school brought me here, right? And so the school is very new. The school, we're only in our third year. And so they're recruiting, and it's an independent school, it's a private school. In the city, it's like akin to like a Lick Wilmerding, University, Drew,
Mhm.
some of those kind of, you know, a little bit like SI, but not really like SI, because SI is Catholic, or it's Christian. Um, but it's the school brought me here, and so the school that I work at introduced me to a lot of community, right? But also because even though we have all these big time amenities like the coffee and the beer and the like the restaurant scene, the museum, it's still a small town. It's not over 50,000-60,000 people, right? It's still small. And so if you have any heart to get out and around and meet people, and we're not like particularly extroverted and like in people's faces, but we, you know, we like a coffee shop. We're gonna hang out there for a little bit, and you just start meeting people, right? And especially, there's a lot of people at the school that are around our age, around our life stage. We got 2 kids, you know, and so it's really easy to kind of get out and do that. And it's a really family friendly area, so you just got to go check stuff out. It's taken a little bit of time, but certainly in the last 2 years, we've been able to meet some really, really sweet folks. I mean, and it only gets better, hopefully.
I know you guys are part of a church community. Is that also through school? Is that how you guys find like?
No, so the school is non-denominational. It's not affiliated with any sort of. It's not faith-based in any way. Obviously, one of the first things we wanted to do when we got out here was find a church, find a faith community, and that actually has been not up and down, but it's kind of evolved into a lot of different things, right? When we first moved out here, we stayed with some friends of ours or friends of friends, just 20 minutes south of here in a town called Springdale, and we got kind of connected with their church for a little bit and got really homey there. But we've always, even in the Bay Area, we're thinking about, and then we went to another church here, I should say, here in Bentonville called New Heights, non-denominational but Protestant, evangelical church. Really sweet people, really sweet community. But we've always been exploring this idea of doing home church. Even when we were leaving FCBC about 4 years ago, one of the things that kind of struck us was like, how can we do church differently in a way that we feel, and again, this is with all due respect to FCBC, right? I also didn't grow up in the city. I didn't grow up in Chinatown. I don't have roots in the same way with that church family and with the mission of the church in the same way that other folks do. Even though I have nothing but love and respect for it, and really served there and kind of bring that vision to fruition. But we were just exploring, like, how can we do church as a family? How can we not, our oldest daughter is 4.5 now, but at the time she was just 1. And it was like, how can we not just, you know, do the conventional, okay, she's going to go to the nursery now, we're going to do church without her. And, you know, again, this is not to each their own, right? Like, every
Right.
family should
Yeah.
decide what they want to do for themselves. But for us at the time, we were like, hey, we want to do something a little different. And even the church that we landed at in Berkeley, which is the one that my wife went to before we got married, ARC, you know, it was a young church. And so they didn't have a nice built out family program either. And so since we moved out here, one of the things that we've prioritized is, well, 2 things. The people that we want to do church with is people that we want to do life with in general. So not just do church, like we're just doing day to day. We'll see them any day of the week anyways. And that in doing life together, we're thinking about how we're living as a missional community, whether it's locally or using our dollars, using our influence, using our know-how and creativity in all the ways that the Lord has blessed us to advance his kingdom, right? And so, you know, we could do that certainly at a big church around here. And I mean, you know, it's a fairly well-churched area compared to the Bay Area. There's a lot of quote unquote people that would identify as Christian, right? Because it's just historically the case here in the South. But what, this is a long build up to say, we kind of do home church now. There was a home church that we're going to on Friday nights before, that we are still attending infrequently, but we're starting kind of a group with 2 other families for ourselves that we see all the time anyways, right? And that there are people there that have a heart to teach. There are people there that have a heart to worship together. There's kids the same age that want to do life together. We want to teach those kids, right? And so I think there's a space for that too. And some people use that term home church. Some people call it micro church. I think there's an opportunity to still be a part of a larger church body and do community with church at large. But I think we're thinking really nuclearly, like, kind of what do we want for our family and for ourselves?
Can you explain what a home church is?
Yeah, we gather at each other's homes, just basically. And at least the one that we were going to on Friday, we met at this one home, and it was about 9 or 10 families. And it's potluck every single time we met. And then after that, there was one particular couple that they also run a church on Sundays, but the husband teaches at that church, and the wife teaches at this Friday night church, and both of them are kind of, they know the biblical languages really, really well. So it's a lot of good Hebrew teaching and Old Testament teaching, and stuff like that. So it's like potluck followed by teaching, and the kids kind of play together. But even then, we kind of like were invited into that, and we don't know all the folks there that well. And so there was a point where we were like, hey, this is awesome. We would totally kind of just throw ourselves into this. But hey, who are the people that we're seeing? And it was like a couple cities away. We're like, who are we doing life with here? And so we're trying to start something similar to that now. We're finding 2 families at least to begin with. And there's also a network of churches around here that are micro churches, home churches, where people are putting their support together to support something, and live missionally. But we're starting to begin with who are the people that we're doing life with? How do we live missionally together as a community? What do we want to learn and explore together? That's inclusive of our children, ourselves. So that's what it looks like right now. Get together, eat meals, do life.
Nice.
Study the word, pray together, pray for one another, even when we're not together.
That's awesome. I think one thing that I've always I've really appreciated you and Alexa is the way you guys go about, I think, being really intentional about how your faith is for your family and for you guys. And that's amazing. It's great. We're going to move on to our next segment, and our producers will put up the next Kahoot, and it's about music, which is something that's also a big part of Ian's life. So let's see if while they're doing that, so are you just teaching music? Are you still teaching music?
Yeah, I teach music. I teach middle school and high school music. Like I said, our school has a film program too, so I teach kind of your conventional instrumental ensembles and general music in the middle school. I also teach like Ableton Live and digital music in the high school. That's going to kind of go into sound production and film scoring in the film department as well. So we do a lot of electronic music type stuff, and that's kind of where we want to grow. Yeah, there's a couple other roles that I have at the school, but my main focus is on teaching instrumental music and digital music, electronic music.
Well, it looks like we got our Kahoot up. So if you're go ahead and sign in, guys. And while you're signing, we're waiting for people to sign in. We can ask us some questions. We have one coming in from Terrence.
What do people in Arkansas think of people in San Francisco, California? I'll be honest with you. I don't know that they think about them that much.
Yeah.
But okay, to really answer your question, when I tell them that I'm from there, the first thing they usually say is, "Oh, that must be a big change for you to come out here." That's usually the first thing they say. And then I usually say, "Yeah, but it was a good change, right?" Like, no offense to the Bay Area where I come from, which I love dearly. My family's there. I have community there. I have people like y'all there. But I also moved for a reason, right? I moved because I wanted to be here. And it's kind of like, I think people in general presume a lot about everything, you know? I don't think that people have much to think about California besides, oh, that's far away. It must be really, really different.
Have there been things that have been pretty difficult to adjust to over in Arkansas?
Not really.
How's it
I mean, there's more weather, right?
More
there's
weather,
more seasons.
More seasons.
It'll snow. It'll be humid like Thailand in the summer. There's mosquitoes. There's cicadas. Rick, at night, it feels like living in the hills.
Do you like that? Do you like the sound of the
Yeah. I like for my children that there's seasons. I like for myself that there's seasons, right? Because Alexa and I have kind of gotten into gardening. And so like just thinking about life and how something from a seed, how many parables, how many stories in the Bible are about growth and about plants and about seeds and seed falling in the right soil and trees. And like, I think there's something really beautiful about springtime and Passover and Easter and new life. But that's when things are starting to grow right now around here, right? These are really easy lessons that we can teach our kids. But also for them to have experience, like my daughter, she's 4.5, almost 5. Like she's babied and nursed these seeds that Alexa and I and her have sowed. indoors and kept them warm, like even put blankets on them to keep them warm over the winter. And now they're starting to have little seeds, the seedlings, right? And so here she is as a 4.5, 5-year-old, like really experiencing life in that way, right? Not to say you can't do that in the Bay, right? You could totally do that in the Bay too. But something about having snowed just a month ago or 2 months ago, and now it being beautiful and sunny, it makes you appreciate it a little bit more for sure.
Yeah, because you can grow things. It's almost like you can grow things at any point in the Bay Area because of just like the lack of seasons, but then you really get to see like how things kind of die and then
that cycle
live and
and it's gorgeous here in the spring and the fall, but like there's definitely death and decay in the winter, you know.
Nice.
In a totally like meaningful and
natural
way.
Yeah, definitely.
You know, ready for this?
Okay.
Some music. I got it. That's why I said Mr. Hung.
Oh,
I gotta knock this out of the park.
All right, I think we can start. Here we go. Music, catchy songs.
Oh man, if it's popular music, I'm not gonna know anything.
Yeah, what is this?
No, there's just trivia questions. The catchiest song of all time is
based on who?
Seems
this is based
subjective.
on a study.
Oh,
based on a study.
I got you. I got it.
So confident, so quick.
This seems like it's like a couple of years between all these songs and not really taking account.
I was waiting for a photo to pop up just now.
I think we learned our lesson. So what was the first instrument that you learned how to play?
Violin.
Oh, that's right. I remember that.
How many do you know?
Oh, that's my next question.
I would call myself a violinist. I would call myself a trumpet player. I would call myself a guitar player, because those are the ones that I feel like I have training in, I perform regularly in. Mm-hmm. But I teach like all the band instruments and all the orchestra instruments, right? So I could teach violin, viola, cello, bass, guitar.
I always wondered like how proficient do you have to be at every single instrument in order to teach it? Like, do you need to know all the fingerings of a?
You don't need to know all the fingerings, but you certainly need to know how to make a noise, right? A good sounding noise.
You gotta make a good sounding noise.
But like I'm blessed, right? Because I started violin when I was in 5th grade. I started violin when I was 5 years old. And then I went to elementary school thinking, oh, I'm gonna keep playing violin. And then, you know how it is in California public schools, music was cut a lot. And so they got rid of all the string instruments. And so I could only pick up a wind or brass instrument. So I learned trumpet, right? Because I had to. I wanted to learn violin or keep playing violin. But then I learned the string family from a young age. Then from school, I learned the brass family really quickly. And then from church, I learned guitar and like kind of rock music. Like, you know, like I was blessed in that even before I went to school for music, I had these big major families figured out. Right. And like, if you know rhythm, you could do percussion, and then you just gotta learn woodwinds, and that's like pretty much it. You need to know the families. You need to know the families decently.
All right, well, congratulations to the 4 of you guys who thought the answer was Wannabe from Spice Girls. That is
someone hummed that? I don't even know which one that is.
Mr. Hum.
Oh, you got it. Did you know?
I know that.
I read
it's done on a study. In 2014, a group of researchers released an online test called Hooked on Music, and they found that Wannabe by the Spice Girls was catch a song. People were able to recognize it within 2.3 seconds.
These are like the most unreputable researchers ever.
I don't agree.
What did you say?
I mean, I just feel like I watched it. I don't know. So
all right.
2016.
Who sold the most CDs in?
Oh, I picked the wrong one.
How you know?
No.
Because it says CDs, y'all.
What difference does it
make? If you wait long enough,
who's selling CDs? Who's selling CDs still in 4 years ago?
People sell CDs.
I know. Mozart sells CDs. Beatles sell CDs.
650 Francis, do you sell CDs?
What do you mean? I think all these groups sell CDs.
Yeah, I think all four of these people are groups of people.
Question is, who's buying them, right? In CD form.
Yeah. I think I might feel okay.
I think I picked the wrong one too. And now that I kind of understand.
I jumped on the one that probably sold the most albums, but maybe not the most CDs.
I think I know. I think I
By
did
now
the
soon
same thing.
enough.
But that's like a total student mistake. Read the directions.
Yeah, you gotta
Ah.
like
You
find the
read
trick
it, right?
questions.
I had to think about it a little bit.
Right.
This just goes to show that standardized testing
That's
doesn't
how
prove
you like
anything.
excel in. I've always found like, you know, you guys like the teacher's always trying to trick you. You gotta read
That's
that.
what I'm saying,
book.
like,
I never try to trick my students. Never.
This is why standardized testing is worthless, because
Well,
you're under
also
time.
Kahoot is giving you like it's asking you to answer it as fast as you can.
That's what I'm saying.
That's
It's
just
like
like a
standardized
test.
testing. You have a time limit.
You have a time limit. Yeah, you can spend all your time on the
Because
one.
those little like bouncing circles.
You have to pick
totally
which one's
throw me
worth
off.
it, worth more points.
It's not.
The answer was Mozart.
It's
I had a
older
feeling it was
people that are
Mozart.
buying stuff.
Yeah, because it's the
Yeah.
people that are listening to Mozart buying
Right,
CDs
we're in the
still.
age of streaming, right? And
Yeah, I did.
So,
pick
I put
Beyonce.
T Swift.
I mean, that was a good guess.
Oh, cool. It didn't hurt me. I'll take it.
I have not gotten.
Bill Clinton, though, he's coming up for you.
You know I'm competitive.
Oh, I do. Everything we've done, you go deep. Mozart sold the most CDs in 2016, beating out Adele, Drake, and Beyonce, even though all those artists had Grammy-winning hits that year. Nice. Yeah, I remember like whether it's like Ping Pong
Dude.
or Halo, Flife.
The British Navy used whose song?
Oh my gosh.
The British Navy used those Who songs to scare off pirates. Is it Britney Spears, Adele, Lord, or Hillsong United? Ooh.
This question needs a lot more context.
Yeah, what pirates? Like.
Right.
I'll find out.
Only
Well, it's
pirates?
probably not old treasure hunting pirates. Given that they probably didn't have Adele or Hillsong United back then.
Dun, 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 dun,
I know the
dun,
answer.
dun.
So it's Somali pirates.
Yeah, it's
Somali pirates. There's a scare off Somali pirates.
I know what I would use.
What will you use?
One that I picked. Let's see if I get it first. Hold on.
All right. One cool thing that I just saw before on the Zoom. There's have you guys heard of have you guys watched John Krasinski's channel?
Who?
No, but I've seen it. Oh, you talking about like the thing, the Hamilton thing?
He has a YouTube channel called I think it's called Some Good News.
Yeah.
And then he held like basically a prom for
cool.
For the seniors this year, and so he had like it was live streamed on YouTube, and he had Chance, the rapper. He had the Jonas Brothers, and Billie Eilish
That's cool.
performing. It was awesome. It was really cool.
He had like the original cast of Hamilton perform.
Did he? Oh wow.
Yeah, on like some other episodes, like episode 2.
Oh.
So yeah, the British Navy used Britney Spears song to scare off the Somali pirates.
Wouldn't
Good
you?
job, 6 of you guys. Is that what you pick?
Yeah.
Why?
It's Britney Spears. I don't know. Adele and Lord are like, they do their ballads. I don't think that will scare anybody.
Slow.
And I feel like Hillsong United was like someone just threw in like answer D to throw you off.
No, what you could try to convert them. So there you go. Why? I think the long answer was like something about them hating Western music.
Oh.
Something like that, and
Cool.
religious purposes.
Oh.
Oh. Is that the last song? Bill Clinton. Wow, you came back up.
Arkansas reference.
Wow, 650 Francis again.
Hung
Just short.
of
But,
Mr. Hung.
Can't be Mr. Hung.
It's my day job.
Runner-ups to Mary Beth and Aya. Good job, y'all. So talking about music, what made you decide to teach music?
My experience becoming a teacher, let alone teacher of music, was not like a very linear route. It wasn't like I graduated high school, I wanted to become a teacher, so I studied music education. I mean, you two know this story, but like, I graduated high school. I did music the entire time. People thought I would pursue music beyond high school, but I was like, I don't want to do that. That's like not very Asian American to me. And so I didn't, right? And I got into a good university, and I did everything other than music. I did everything other than teach. And it was all right for me, right? Like I was okay with that. And I was okay putting what I loved aside. In my mind, when I first finished high school, I was like, oh, I don't want to do what I love for a job. Like that should be what I love, right? But as you know, long story short, about 2.5 years into my time at Cal, I was really sad. I was just really hopeless. I had really fallen away in my faith at that time. I was really disconnected from FCBC at that time as well, and some of my family there. Um, yeah, it was just tough, right? I hit like a pretty deep rock bottom. Um, and so I was blessed with family that were still nearby that would say, "Hey, won't you stop school for a little bit and just focus on what you want to do?" And went to counseling, went to therapy, did workshops for depression, stuff like that. And really, the bottom line was, hey, well, you should do the stuff that gives your life pleasure, right? You should at least be doing that. Pleasure might not be the right word. Pleasure can sometimes be misconstrued and taken out of context, but just do the things that bring you joy, right? Pretty much.
Right.
And so growing up, I competed in swimming and coached swimming a lot, and I did music a lot, right? And so the two things that I started doing in the 3 semesters that I took off, and essentially I dropped out, right? I dropped out from Cal. But during the 3 semesters between that and when I returned, I started coaching swimming again. I reconnected with FCBC and started doing music at FCBC. And I was taking music classes at JC, Diablo Valley College in Concord. And so I was just doing the things that I knew that would bring me joy again. And it was serving at church in the music capacity, music ministry. It was working with kids again through coaching and taking music at a collegiate level, even though it was JC, that all swirled back together and in some ways rehabilitated me, right? Like I was in this place where I was aimless, right? And it's kind of a common Asian American story. Like I think social health, social emotional health or emotional health and mental health is something that's not discussed a lot in Chinese families, Chinese circles, right? But for me, it was like pursuing something that I didn't want, being stressed, going into university thinking or undergrad feeling like I was super confident in myself and all the things that I'd done up to that point, and then kind of being slapped across the face and realizing how hard it was and how disillusioned and how much I was not really confident. And really what I learned is I needed to humble myself, right? I needed to really seek after the kingdom first and learn myself and pursue the things that I feel like God created me to do. And I mean, I wasn't a perfect music teacher out the gate, but certainly it brought me a lot of joy, right? And so those 3 semesters later, I took a 1.5 years off. I went back to Cal and I changed my major to music, and I got an education minor. And when I graduated, 6 years after I started, right? Because it was like 2 years, took a 1.5 years off, 2 years. I told myself I was going to get a credential. And I was going to figure it out, even though music programs were getting cut left and right. And I was like, you know what? I'll get a credential. I'll figure it out. If God intends this for me, yeah, I'll go for it. The other, I'm looking at a question that says, what other majors or careers did I pursue? I didn't pursue really any other careers, but when I was starting off at UC Berkeley, I had studied business, political science, economics. I knew I wasn't an engineer per se. I enjoyed mathematics, but not in an engineering mindset. I like the sciences, but I didn't think I was going to go full on the sciences, but it was mostly kind of economics, political science. I was in a major called political science, political economies of industrial societies. It was like kind of poli-sci and econ jammed into one, right? But that's where I was, right? And I wasn't really digging it. And then after I went back and I graduated with a music major, I went straight for music education. And that's the only career I've ever had or pursued as far as I can remember. I mean, I've had other jobs, but those were like jobs when I was like in college and high school.
I remember having lots of conversations because I think at the same time, kind of you and I were talking about, I don't know if you remember talking about actually both having this weird like crisis event, like wanting to pursue teaching, but also at the same time feeling the pressure from family or society to do something else.
Yeah, I remember these conversations.
I do remember also you saying, man, if all I did the rest of my life was teach and coach swimming, I'd be happy. And so that was pretty cool.
And I should say that's before I met my wife, right? And so like that was when I was like super single, right? Like kind of like all I did was like career and friendships and family, right? Family in the kind of like my parents and my brother and his family. And so I think that was probably true at the time, right? We were like in our early to mid 20s and like we were all kind of career adults at this point. And like, I probably had in some part of me thought, okay, well, the romantic stuff may or may not happen, but I have found what brings me joy, those two things. And I was going hard on those things, right? I was really coaching a lot, and I was really teaching full on. And I bring up my marriage, and I bring up my wife and my family, because of course that realigns everything, right? In a really perfect way, right? There's something that you both know about me, which is even before I met my wife, and even before y'all even got to know her or my kids, it's like when we were just growing up, like I think I've always had a kind of fatherly instinct. Like I want to nurture. Maybe it's why I'm a teacher, but teaching is also very different than being a father. So, or being a husband.
Well, we have a lot of our youth are grads, and obviously they're going through a tough time right now.
Yeah, it's tough.
Kind of like their senior year, kind of feeling like it's robbed from them.
Yeah.
But do you have any tips for these seniors as they're kind of going to like thinking, tips for like when you go into college, and just like life lessons you've learned along the way? Obviously they may not apply to everybody, but just things that you feel like were helpful, whether it's things that you learned personally or things you learned through other people.
Let me figure out the best way to state this. You got to have your people, right? You got to always, whether it's family or a good friend, you got to have people that you can lean on and be really truthful and authentic with, right? Where I went wrong in my first couple of years in undergrad was I felt like I had it, right? And like it was a really false sense of confidence, right? And it was one of those things where when things went wrong, I didn't go to anybody. I was just keeping it inside, right? Because actually, let me state this in the form of being a teacher. If all the students from my school, all they leave my school with is a sense of curiosity and a sense of like persistence to pursue what they're curious about, they're equipped for the world, right? Because like that is already humbling yourself. That is already having people that be like, oh yeah, I'm going to make mistakes. I'm going to make them meaningfully. I'm going to make them hard. I'm going to make them big, and I'm going to keep going for it. Right. I would say have your people that you can lean on so that you, in vulnerable moments, you could lean on them. And it might not be the same people for the same things, right? But have your person for like, hey, when you're having trouble in your romantic life, that's the person you lean on for that. When you're thinking about things academically, that's the person you lean on for that. Ideally, it's like some of the same people, right? But have your people, because you need people to have your back, and you need people to be weak around and be vulnerable around. Like you really just need to know that weakness is not a bad thing. Weakness is a good thing. It humanizes you. It allows you to lean on God's strength and other people that God has put in your life. And I think try a bunch of things, right? And I want to be careful, because I think there are some legit people that graduate high school and like, oh, I'm going to be a biochemist. and more power to you, right? You should go for that, but also be open to the fact that that might not be it, even if you're so convinced right now. It's good to acknowledge that there are people in your life that have influenced, like your parents, like your community. It's good to want to honor them too, right? Like I probably didn't pursue music graduating high school because I didn't feel like that would be honoring my parents, to be honest, right? Because yes, they put me through all those private lessons. Yes, they got a lot of joy from seeing me excel as a musician, but I don't think they ever had it in their minds that I was going to pursue that as a career. So even though they didn't tell me that they didn't want me to pursue it as a career, I internalized that, right? So honor that, right? And acknowledge that, but I think a lot these days about what my inheritance is from my parents and what my inheritance is from God, right? What do I, as a son of God, inherit? Well, the most important thing, number one, is that he created me beautifully, uniquely, wonderfully to do the things that he's created me to do, right? And I need to spend my lifetime figuring out what those things are and pursue those things hard, or, well, I'm not living up to, I don't want, that's kind of a strong statement too. But, I think that's really, really important. I'm taking your question and kind of derailing, but.
No, it's good.
But I think you're touching on a lot of things our kids are thinking about, especially coming from Asian American families.
Yeah.
Or like that pressure to.
And if you have a lot of grads, I get that feeling, right? Because you have this feeling of like, well, I was going to do senior prom, and we're going to do commencement and graduation, and we're going to have these parties, and we're going to do these things. Totally own that and feel that sense of loss, right? You're allowed to be sad. Absolutely. Own it. But then also know that those are events and things and celebrations that are not going to just define your experience. And then you close that chapter of the book, and then that's it, right? Like, I feel like as a teacher, the best thing I could do for my students is to see them as their current selves and see them as their future selves. If I could look at a child and see them as their 7th grade self, but also what they're going to become in the future, I could serve them the best, right? And so being able to, by fixating on graduation, by fixating on prom, by fixating on these possible events that would have been the culmination of senior year, you're not giving yourself the experience of acknowledging that there's way, 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 way more. Feel the sadness, no doubt, because there is loss there. That's a bummer. I would feel the same way. But use that as a point to be like, all right, well, what am I going to put my energies towards now?
Yeah, I think that's so great because I think like there's just like where you're able to like grieve properly and not like, you know, just brush aside, oh, it doesn't matter, whatever. But I think like, yeah, and then being able to give that proper, that respect to that side of you, that emotion and that acknowledging that, but then yeah, using that and not letting it just like bring you down, but using then how do you respond? And I know like a lot of people are really bummed that right now, like this is like, we're in prom season.
Yeah.
And a lot of people don't have proms, but it's like, you know, I bet you there are some people who are like, you know what, even though we're not going to have prom this year, we're going to have it. We're going to have our senior prom no matter what, eventually, you know, like we're going to set it up. We're going to, whether the first year in college or second year in college or whatever, whenever this thing, you know, blows over, like we're going to have it. And so,
that's
so
cool.
that's like, yeah, you know, like, I think that's cool is like, there's always hope, you know, it's never at the end, you know, it's always like how you react or how you respond. So,
I mean, we try to think as much as we can as a family about like, okay, this is unfortunate for a lot of people, but what is it putting me in a position to do, right? Like for y'all, Youth Talks. Now you're doing this format, right? And I can already tell you the one thing that I'm gaining from this is that I've been wanting to chat with you two forever. Y'all never answer my texts. Now you have a format that you have to talk to me, and that's.
Oh, you're just calling us out on YouTube,
dude. You better know that I'm gonna keep it real. But this is beautiful, right? Like this is a silver lining. We're connecting, right? Sure. And folks that are watching this that don't know who I am, I mean, it's not really about knowing who I am, but seeing this authentic experience between 3 friends that grew up together, right? You know, for our family, what I was going to say is we're expecting our 3rd child in 6 weeks. For those that don't know, we're expecting a new kid in about a month's time. And you know, it gives us time to just focus on that. I'm not at school all day. I could be with the kids while my wife sleeps in, and you know, like just stuff, little things like that. It might seem really minuscule when you haven't had children before, but oh man, it's huge, right? And we could kind of not coast into having a 3rd kid because nothing about that's going to be easy. But we certainly can realign and reevaluate our priorities.
Question here.
I'm looking at the one from Terrence. How's it being Asian American in Arkansas? Have you had any interesting experiences that people look and treat you in a different way? I think they're different than the Bay, but it certainly isn't that different, right? Because like, I mean, Arkansas is pretty white, right? And that's just real, right? And I mean, but also Northwest Arkansas is pretty diverse too. It's our school is like one of the most diverse places that I've seen here, and it's only going to change in that way as the population of the area grows. I do think that in the ways that people talk about race and ethnicity and racism in the Bay, people around here are open to the conversation about it, but they're quicker to be they're quicker to maybe fall, and this is a totally blanketed statement, but like they're quicker to fall into like, oh well, like not that we're past racism, but like, well, I mean, like how can we talk about it in a meaningful way without getting all worked up, right? Which is like, people don't really care about getting worked up in the Bay. Let's just talk about it and let's get fired up about it, right? I think there's a little bit of more of exploring the idea of decorum and feeling like you're having a good, engaged conversation about it. I certainly look different, right? There's not a lot of Asian American people around. There are some, right? There's enough, right? There's a Filipino restaurant. There's a really good dumpling place. There's some really good Thai restaurants and Vietnamese restaurants in town. So it's not like I'm in some random rural abyss. But I've had to say to some folks, like even at this one church that I visited, and I'm not outing them, but I told the men's group that I was, I told them straight up, when I walked into your church the first time, I evaluated right? I stepped into the space, and because I grew up at an Asian church or Chinese church, and then even the church I went into Berkeley was predominantly Chinese or Asian, Asian American. When I walked into your church, I spot like, oh, who are the other Asians in the room, right? And also there's this convenience, right, or inconvenience, even in the Bay Area. If you walked into a place that was predominantly not Asian American, you're the one Asian person in it. You have this measurement of like, oh, well, okay, now I am put in a position to represent my skin and represent my hair, right? That's true here too, right? And honestly, like it's just as true as it is here as it is in the Bay. There's a lot of places that are not heterogeneous in the Bay. Maybe if you're walking the streets, maybe if you're in Chinatown, it feels like you're in amongst Asian people. But like, I don't know. I don't feel like it's too different. But certainly you see more Confederate flags, right? And for me, driving around with my 2 children in the back of the car, if I see that, what do I think, right? I have to think about something. You're not seeing so many where you're like, okay, I need to get out of here. But when you see one, you think, okay, here's a guy that's bold enough to fly it, or here's a guy that's bold enough to put down the license plate. How many people around here are cool with it, and how many people around here are not cool with it, right? Like we camped from California to Arkansas because we wanted to give our kids the experience of like, we wanted to give our kids experience. Sorry, I was reading a question, I got sidetracked. We wanted to give our kids the experience of going across the country, and there were definitely towns where I saw the flag, like in Kansas or Missouri, and I told my wife, like, hey, we're not going to stop here for gas. We're going to keep going, right? Because when you see it, you have this instinctive, like, well, there's the guy that feels like they're bold enough to fly it, but certainly his neighbors are cool with it, or like, or something, like, I don't know. I am particularly sensitive, and I'm particularly protective as the father and as the husband. I might be reading a lot into things too, right? With all this coronavirus stuff, right? For me to be Chinese and in Arkansas, right? What does that mean, right? If I walk around with a mask, or if I walk into a grocery store and I cough. Sorry, I'm taking that question and going too far, but
it's great.
Your thoughts on doing things that are not within your gifts and talents, but for God and His kingdom. Doesn't God push us to grow in this way too? I'm not sure I understand fully
Your
the
thoughts
question.
on doing things that are not.
I think this question. So there's a question is, what are your thoughts on doing things that are not within your gifts and talents, but for God and His kingdom? So I think this is going back to when we were talking about kind of like maybe like your career or what you, and then
Doesn't
like
God push us to
I think.
I mean, I certainly don't want to be misconstrued as to saying like, oh, I feel like I'm created with these set gifts, and that's it. Like that's my lot, right? These are my talents, and now I got to multiply them. I'm not saying that, right? We're dynamic. We're human individuals that are always growing and changing, right? Like, I think the best thing we could do for ourselves is at periodic junctures, especially in community, be like, all right, what is God calling me to now? I didn't mean to say, oh, this is my gifting, music and teaching, and that's all I'm gonna do for the rest of my life. I could stop teaching next year and do something different if I feel called to it, right? And I've actually thought about that before. What is gonna be best for my family? What is gonna be best for me? What is gonna be best for being a beacon of light emanating from my home, emanating from my offering to the world? I don't want to be misconstrued as saying like, oh, that's it, and that's my gift. If anything, I think exploring your gifting, feeling out your strengths, feeling out, because like it's not just like, oh, well, this is my number one gift and there's no other gifts, right? I also think there are certain things that we excel at that we just need to like admit legitly we excel at those things, and there might be like a top 10 list of what those things are, and to at different seasons of our life, that order might change, and to pursue those things and to seek after what those things might be. It's really hard to do that if we get stuck in a rut of like, this is all I can do. It's really hard to explore those things if you don't humble yourself and be like, well, I'm just like, well, where I find my calling and where I find my value is being a teacher. I think I do, but that could change, and I'm okay with that. So I would agree. God does push us to grow in this way, and maybe I would restate that to say, I don't think God is pushing us to grow in things that are outside of our gifting. I think we are individuals that are always trying to discover what our growing gifts are, and also to explore the dynamic of what space we inhabit and how we can emanate His light in this particular space, because those things change. I don't think it's just one place, one thing necessarily, or a handful of those things. Sorry, I'm not answering the question.
I think that's great too. Like, and then also like, I think you can think of it in context where it's like, it doesn't have to be also in the professional realm. Like, it doesn't have to be a job. Like, I think you can be operating within your giftings in different ways. Like whether if it's your teaching, you don't have to be necessarily a teacher to be teaching. You can be doing in a whole bunch of different ways, whether it's like, through your church or through other programs or
Right.
other avenues.
It's
So
very
you're still
rarely
excelling, you can still be like, using the gifts and multiplying the things that God's given you, but also being challenged and growing things that you don't feel like you're great at. And like, if you just need to take a job that you hate just to like, provide for your family, like that's honoring, that's beautiful too. And that's great. And it doesn't mean you have to, like, some of us have that luxury, right? Everyone's gonna be in different situations where you may be able to pick a job or a career that you love, but not everyone has that. And that's fine too, Like,
I do think for some people that it's
dynamic.
a specific, I do think for some people it might be a specific profession or pursuit, right? Like some people get the word like, hey, you need to preach, you need to be a preacher. Then for sure, go after that.
Sometimes it's super obvious.
Right. For me, it's more like, hey, you like developing people. You like getting to know people and their real self and thinking about ways to help them. Like, I mean, like, we did Strength Finders before, right? When we were doing the college young adult retreat before. And it's like, I do like individualization. I do really get to like knowing people. I really do like thinking about like not commanding a room for the sake of like commanding the room, but like, how do I figure out the internetwork of this room and get to everybody's like trigger to get them to like be their best selves, right? Which just sounds so cheesy, but that could be in the context of teaching. It could be in the context of coaching. It could be in the context of, I don't know, being a community leader in some capacity. Being an active member in I don't know, city council, maybe. I don't know. I for me, it's not a job, right? It's where I feel like I'm not having to filter myself at all and just be myself.
And to answer the question, I think, that God does push us to grow in ways that we're not comfortable, right? But it's what you guys were saying. It's in all aspects of our lives, right? Like challenging us to, if we're not personal people, but to go out and like actually challenge us to talk to others or whatnot. I think it just happens outside of our occupations, outside of our jobs. Just that's kind of like what we focus on a lot because that's what's on our mind. Like, what are we going to do for the rest of our lives?
Right.
But there's so much more than just our jobs to our lives.
Well, I think you touched on a really important point, right? Which is like, it's not my decision what my gifts and talents are. It's not like I came to some decision, I graduate high school now I'm going to pursue this and this is my calling, right? It is submission, right? For a lack of a better word, right? It is, hey, I have faith that if I submit myself, my emotions, my body, my physicality, who I am to the Lord, that somewhere along the way, we'll discover together what some of the things that I feel gifted or called to are, right? But that's very much not my own, like, well, let's see, I got this GPA, I was good in this statistics class, and I should be an engineer, right? That's like a very worldly way to discover. And it's okay. I mean, that's what you got right now. Like, definitely start with those things, right? But I think, I don't think you could talk about gifts and talents without talking about submission. I don't think you could talk about gifts and talents without thinking about God's will for you. And that's like the big thing, right? I mean, Rick, like all those conversations we had, like, what is God's will for us? Right? When we're in our mid and early 20s, it's like, well, that's not for us to really know right now. We'll know some aspects of it, but we should certainly be prayerful and keep doing the things that we're doing and not like testing God either. Like, oh, I'm going to be a cop and see if that sticks or not. No, just like, if that's the job that you feel called to, do that and see if you could be yourself in that role. Or I'm going to be, whatever, right? Sorry.
And if you fail, like you still grow. Those are still opportunities of God growing who you are.
Yep.
And
fail hard.
I think it is important to think about, like, how do I honor my parents? How do I think about like providing for a future family or providing for myself? But ultimately, I think the number one thing is, like what is God pushing me to become or do or whatever for my life? I think that was the thing that really pushed me toward teaching, and probably you as well.
Yeah. I think there's a really interesting conversation to be had, maybe not right now because it's a long one, but between this idea of feeling pressure and really, I think to me, like stress, anxiety, pressure, that's all kind of going in the direction of fear, right? And what's opposed to that is, for me, like some sort of faith, right? There's a lot of things that would cause us and my family to be fearful and worried about moving across the country, doing something brand new, leaving our family up behind. You know, our kids are super young, right? But like, no, I think we had a pretty strong instinct that there was something that was drawing us away, right? And we could be fearful and we could latch onto that, or we could be like, oh, I don't really know what's going to be like, but it could be really awesome. There is definitely fear in that, but how can you take the energy that you would otherwise be expending on feeling fearful about something and just let yourself be faithful? That's a bigger thing to do than just to say, but definitely being prayerful.
Good question. Thanks, Neil, for that question.
Good hosting.
I have one more question for you guys, or for you, Ian. So I recently bought a guitar, and I'm been trying to learn, and I think there's a lot of our kids who also are like musically talented, or they've either started or they're trying to get into music. I know for you, what was like, this is very specific to me, but like, what's some top tips that you had for someone like trying to learn guitar for the first time?
Pick a song that you like.
Okay.
Like, I mean, like that seems silly, but
keep playing it.
I mean, you gotta like it, right? Like I teach music, and the last thing I want a kid to do is go home and like be practicing their violin in tears, right?
Hey, Mozart sold the most CDs.
Mozart's not a violinist. Actually, he plays violin. Sorry, Mozart plays violin. But no, find a song that you like. Find a genre that you like. Be it worship, praise music, or something else, right? You're only gonna learn. I feel like my guitar playing really took off when Jack Johnson was really popular, and I was like, you know what? I'm gonna learn a bunch of those songs.
I remember those songs
because I was into it, right? And I'm not as into it now, but dude, it stretched me. Right? There was a lot of barring. There was a lot of really intricate finger work. It stretched me because I really was into it and I would spend hours playing it, right? You should feel like you're losing yourself in that time. So figure out what that song is. And if it's 4 chords, learn those 4 chords. If it's 2 chords, learn those 2 chords, because once you learn those 2 chords, you're going to have them. And then it could just leverage into the next song that you like. I think it's really, really important to discover your joy from making music. And if you don't enjoy it, don't force yourself into doing it, right? No 10-step program for learning guitar is going to teach it to you. Find a song that you like and then have the objective in mind, and then learn the skills to get to the objective. Don't just learn the skills kind of in this like nebulous, absent of a goal way. I don't think that gets far.
What was the first song you learned on guitar?
When we were at the 7th grade winter retreat, so I did go to winter retreat before FCBC. We were at UC Davis at Kim Woo's house. Maddie and Maddie Dong and what's Law's sister's name? Shoot.
Marsha.
No. Marsha and Maddie taught me "Let the Glory of the Lord Endure Forever."
What was the first song you learned?
That's the first song I learned.
Wow.
And then like probably "Father, I Adore You," because that's like only D and A.
Nice.
I'm pretty sure "Let the Glory of the Lord Endure Forever" was the first song. And then they let me borrow a guitar like indefinitely.
Oh.
That was the coolest thing.
That's awesome.
But it wasn't until Jack Johnson that things really took off.
Banana pancakes.
Yeah.
I think we have time for one more Kahoot. And then we can do like just a random Q&A session to end the night. So this one's a topic that we all enjoy. Not that we didn't enjoy music in Arkansas together, but this is going to be on coffee. So, let's see if
do the kids drink coffee?
Some do.
Some do. Some drink
boba.
Fraps.
I honestly feel like y'all drink boba way too much.
Of course.
But
yo, save that money. Save that money.
Do they have boba in Arkansas?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's good.
I mean, it's aight.
What's the?
There's no like boba guys. You know what I'm saying?
How many boba shops do they have?
Probably 2 or 3. I mean, the place that makes the dumplings. Okay. The kids go to our school. It's a really sweet family. They're Malay Chinese.
Oh.
They got some good boba. They make some good gong sik nai cha.
Ooh, really?
Yeah, dude.
Can't even find that here.
Yeah, it's pretty good. I mean, they're from where my mom was from in Malaysia. They're like straight up Malay Chinese.
Cool. Malaysians have good Hong Kong, like milk tea. They do milk tea really well.
Oh, Alexa's still in. She didn't play the second round though.
So where do you see yourself in like 10 years? Do you think about that? Like you and your family? Do you feel like you would settle down and set roots in Arkansas, or are you
Yeah,
open?
I mean, I make it a point. I mean, you know me, Rick. Like, I I'm not one always. I look forward to the next thing, but I certainly am not always thinking about like, okay, this is not good enough for me, or like, you know what I'm saying? Like, once we moved to Arkansas, I made it a point to say to my kids, we are Arkansan now, right? It's really easy for people that live here to be like, oh yeah, I'm from so and so. I'm from Seattle. No, I'm from Arkansas now, right? And even though when I visited California and Colorado last summer, when people ask me where I'm from, the first thing I say is I'm from Arkansas. Though I've only been there for 2 years or a year and a half, and you know I spent the last 30 years in the Bay Area, right? But I think it's really important for us to own where we are. And can I say something that's just for real, for real? Like I've never felt like no offense to voting in the Bay Area, but I've never felt like my vote, my presence, my being in the town square, and my just being a part of the residency, part of the population here has meant more, especially with the way that the town is changing.
As what? You cut out.
I've never felt like my
His
vote, my
vote.
presence, my face, my skin color, just being here has meant as much as when I was in the Bay, right? Like whether it's political, social, or just like representing more folks, international folks,
Uh-huh.
or folks of different ethnicities, I definitely feel like I feel like I belong here. But you know, I can't answer that question, Rick, because like 10 years is such a long time, man. Like, I don't know.
Yeah.
Year?
In that classroom.
Yeah. I really like where I'm at right now. I really like the school that I'm at. I really respect it. Like if there's one piece of advice I'd give, well, at least young adults that are beginning their careers, but even kids that are going to college now, like leadership is important, right? The people that you work with, the culture is important. You know, and so I really feel convicted that the leadership here is great and that I respect them and I like the culture that they're setting. And so if there's room for me to grow into that and be a part of that, I'm all for it. Certainly would be happy to talk about independent school education in a different conversation with other folks, but I think leadership is important, right? I think that's one thing we talked about early on, Rick. Like, no matter what school you're at, like, you know, you could have the hardest, most difficult kids, but if you don't have the right mentorship and like administrative support as a teacher, you could feel like you're lost in the abyss, right? You want to be in a work environment where you feel like you're being mentored and you could grow. So,
Along with your coworkers, the right people too.
right. Absolutely. Some of my best friends in Arkansas are my coworkers.
All right, I think that's plenty of time.
Anybody
for,
else? It's only 7.
Only 7. People are intimidated by the coffee Kahoot.
Come on, guys, take a chance. If you're out there, log in.
After this, we're gonna just we're gonna have a Q&A session. If you have any more questions, just ran any questions for Ian, feel free to just throw them in the chat, and then we'll talk about. In the meantime, while we're waiting for those questions to come, we'll talk about
We're
Ian's
gonna do
favorite
that,
memories.
Who's your
uh,
guest
yeah.
in 2 weeks?
Oh, it's a surprise. We can't.
Oh,
Are we gonna do that whole like
Just.
tell us more about your Instagram photo or anything segment?
We could.
you pull it up. Pull it up and screen share that.
All right, we'll wait.
All right. Okay, let's
start this Kahoot. Let's get it going.
It's about coffee.
It's about coffee.
So we get the question first, right?
And then the answer will show up somehow.
You still into coffee, Ian?
Yeah.
Or technically.
Boom.
Coffee beans are technically fruit, seeds, beans, or legumes.
Some of our, Rick, to answer your question, some of our best friends, family friends in town own a coffee shop. And actually one of our other really good friends work there. It's a place called Airship Coffee. It's not the coffee roaster that has all those awards, but it's my favorite place. It's like our Cheers. When we show up there, like I'll randomly, like literally like Cheers, like on a Saturday, we'll show up there for something. And like a bunch of my colleagues, people's family, kids are like, oh, you want to just do lunch? Like we'll just hang out. It's a really good place to chill. Good coffee too. Coffee matters.
You still pulling your own espresso now?
No, don't have that machine no more.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh.
I
Why did it
only
break
have-
or you sold it?
We just didn't move with it. I have a Kalita. That's all I got.
Do you guys still have the VW? Is that what you guys are at?
It's in California. It's at a garage that we need to sell it. We need to sell it. We need to sell it.
All right, all answers in. The answer is
Seed.
boom, seeds. Just 2 people got it right.
Okay,
Oh, no one fell for the beans. Interesting. I thought that would have been a popular answer. Kevin, good job, Kevin.
All right.
Next one. What country grows the most coffee in the world? Do you know this one?
Uh-huh.
You do?
Yeah. All that Robusta, man.
I know what you're talking about.
The Vietnam, Colombia, Brazil, or Indonesia?
Oh, that cheap
That
Robusta.
Robusta, that cheap stuff, the good stuff.
All that. Well, they're making what I feel like they're have you heard of the? I'm not sure if I'm saying it right. Dalgona coffee.
Is it like a geisha?
Is it like a what?
Is it like an heirloom variety?
No. So this is like is it just like it's like the trending coffee drink of the shelter in thing.
What
And
is
so
it?
like I think it started with like it's a drink in Korea, and so like it's making its way through like just like social media, TikTok and whatnot. So it's like they use instant coffee, and then you whip it and you froth it up, and then it turns into this froth, and you pour it over like cold milk or hot milk or whatever. So it's
yeah,
you've seen that?
I've seen it because there's a like kind of like Korean woman like video homemaker mama that Alexa and I like to show the kids her videos. It's really like done up and.
Is it Meng Chi?
Huh?
Who is it?
Hi Green Doll?
Oh, I don't know.
She's got like 1 million subscribers. I mean, she's legit. But
It was
like
Brazil,
really
guys. Brazil.
They got
Brazil
a lot
makes
of that cheap Robusta.
That cheap Robusta, all that instant coffee.
Vietnam too does a lot of cheap Robusta.
You do. That's much stuff. All right, next one.
Get that whipped coffee.
You ever tried egg coffee?
Yeah.
I have not. Question. The name cappuccino comes from the drink's resemblance to the brown cows worn by Capuchin monks, the similarity in color to the fur of the Capuchin monkeys, the Italian puccino, meaning light brown one, or the size of the cup in which it's commonly served.
Oh, shoot.
I don't know this one.
I don't recognize these answers, but I'm pretty sure
Don't say nothing.
I know what it is.
I have no idea.
I know it's not this one. I know it's not that one.
But I picked one really fast just in case.
Yeah. So how's sheltering in place in Arkansas for you personally?
I mean, it's not as dense here, right? Like
Mm-hmm.
like I could walk around the street and not run into folks, or I could bike. That's not true. We're out in nature a lot. We see our home church, right? We consider ourselves in the same quarantine as the home church. It's just like 2 other families. So we see those folks. It's not that we don't take it seriously, but it's like we literally are going to do life with those folks anyways. They're essentially our extended family. But it's not as serious. We don't have as many cases. Some people would tack that up too. We don't have as many test kits. But we also haven't had like literally as many deaths, and it's not as serious. I think it's, I was talking to one other person in my neighborhood today about this. It's like, I think it's absolutely important to respect people's space and respect the way people are doing things. But I think it's also really, really important for folks to not overlay what they would be doing in life on other people and make assumptions about how other people do life. You know what I'm saying? I feel like there's a lot of shaming in people like, I caught you, or going on, not just here, but I'm sure everywhere.
The answer is the drink's resemblance to the brown cows worn by Capuchin monks. I did not know that.
Did you get that one off?
Man, ouch.
Number 3, Alexa. Wow.
Oh, yeah. Good job,
Alexa. Caitlin. Wow.
Man.
Number 2. And surprise, surprise.
Huh?
Mr. Competitive.
Man.
Stop.
So yeah, we're just gonna end with a little Q&A. So if you have any questions for Ian, throw them on the chat, and we'll try to catch them as much as we can. In the meantime,
about 30 seconds.
What'd you say?
I said we'll see those questions in about 30
I
seconds.
know. So Nimizan,
have to
what's we can just go down like memory lane, and you can share
Yeah.
maybe what's when you think back to like as a camper at youth camp, what's your
Yeah.
like your like what
I-
memories pop up?
I met Ricky over the ping pong table at Rebel Glen because his brother
The
Reggie and
outdoor?
him. Huh?
The outdoor ones?
Yeah, the one right by the craft room.
Those horrible
Definitely don't
janky ones.
Huh?
Those are horrible.
Yeah, but that's where we met each other. Like that's
Yeah.
where I felt like that's my first memory of you, Rick. At
Oh
the,
yeah,
at the ping
sorry,
pong
it's not a
table.
judgment on where you met.
Yeah. That's a memory, meeting Rick at the ping pong table and him being super competitive. But that carried on into our like college years and young adult years, right? I'm thinking about like all of us playing ping pong in the fellowship hall or upstairs or eating the second floor in the classroom floor. Somehow my memory has Rick in a wife beater and like, or like in like, it's like summertime, it's hot, it's getting real humid in there. Remember how steamy it got in there?
Yeah, it was hot.
Yeah.
Good ventilation.
Remember going to Thailand with y'all? That was a good trip. Yeah. Wrecking a motorbike.
I missed that. I didn't even see that.
Also, man,
that was a trip, by the way, that like I got so many mosquito bites. I climbed a lychee tree and got a tree rash. Somehow, even though I had all these open sores, I jumped into a brown creek and then I like scrubbed on a motor scooter.
And then afterwards you caught
I didn't catch dengue. That was Rick.
something. Did you get something?
No, I was sick for a week though.
No,
I was really sick.
Oh, yeah, you were really sick.
So Ian was super sick when we went to Hong Kong, and when I got back home, I got sick, and I went.
They said you had dengue.
Yeah, so I went to the urgent care because you had said that you might have thought it was malaria. So I was super scared. So I went to urgent care, and they're like, "No, you don't have malaria, but you have dengue fever."
I was definitely just curious, like what was going on, like why am I so feverish?
Yeah, you were pretty messed. I remember like we would shower down at that river. You would take your shirt off. You got all these like bumps, like these sores. I felt bad.
Favorite
I was
funny
pretty beat up too.
Favorite funny youth camp prank or memory. Do you see that from Terrence? Favorite funny youth camp prank or memory. I feel like when we were campers, we always put a lot of time into our skits. I feel like those were always like highlights. Though for me, I mean, Terrence, you kind of like asked for it like straight out the bat when you joined the YouTube live earlier. You were asking for like the youth camp video. There were a few years there where I did the slideshow. I really enjoyed doing those. So I really had a lot of fun editing those together. That's definitely was some favorite memories. Trying to make
honestly the
super
funny
epic.
Pranks come when we're staff, not necessarily.
That's true.
I can't remember any though.
I don't feel like we did much.
I remember tired. You know what I remember? As staff, we would like wait for that last night.
Yeah.
We would wait to Rat Patrol that last night because we knew stuff was going to go down and we were ready for it.
We were ready.
Yeah.
We had like water guns in strategic places and balloons.
Yeah. What's your favorite dish to cook for Fellowship Home Church? Alexa made some really good chili the other day. You know what? She makes a really good chicken tinga. It's like like a stewed tomato chicken on tacos. Alexa's nailed that. It's super good. But she made some chili the other day. Like I didn't grow up really enjoying chili, but like growing up, chili was like the canned chili, not like homemade chili. So she made chili recently, and we're like, we got to do that with cornbread for home church. I don't know, grill stuff, kebabs.
Are you I know you have a lot of different hobbies and stuff. Are there things that you're doing that's new hobbies that you're doing?
I bike a lot. I bike a lot. I try to gravel bike when I can, but that's like getting out into the farm roads and the gravel. It's kind of a new kind of counterculture part of cycling. It's not road, it's not mountain, it's gravel. I like to try to go add to that. Like kind of like what they call it, like bike packing. Like camping, but from your bike. And I have a little like a Tenkara fishing rod, like this little like Japanese style fly fishing rod too with it. So I like to get out into the backcountry with my bike to drink coffee, to fly fish, or to camp. Caitlin, my go-to coffee order now at a coffee shop is their drip coffee. Like I really enjoy espresso drinks. I really enjoy all sorts of like different chais and stuff like that. But if I go to a coffee shop and their drip coffee is not good, then I know they're not a good coffee shop. I feel like it's important to have a good cup of drip coffee. Like if your batch coffee is not good, that's an issue.
Indicator.
I like and like I've had like I mean, you know, I've had enough milk stuff growing up. Like I just want a good cup of black coffee. And if they could do that with their batch coffee, then it matters. Oh,
Your nice collection going on.
yeah.
Set up.
That is pretty sweet.
River and Mateo are full on biking now.
Wait, so how long? Wait, when do you expect them third?
In like 3 to 6 weeks.
Oh my god!
Like legitly, probably more like 6 weeks, 5 to 6 weeks.
You guys know the gender?
We don't know the gender. We didn't know the gender with Mateo either. Here,
So do you have names set up? Like,
no, I mean we have some like finalists. Here, let me show you some photos of my kids. These are my kids.
yeah, sure.
Hold up. Can I do that? Hold up. Yeah.
You ever
You see that?
2015 college young adult retreat?
You see that?
Aww.
That's River and Mateo.
Let me guess. Alexa made those beanies.
Knit them by hand.
No. This one, the one on the no, we bought them. Thrifted.
Is that roadkill he has in his hand?
No. I don't know what
It's
that
like a
is.
tree branch.
I think it's like a twig.
The tree branch or a dead rat.
That's my kids. That's River on the left. She's 4.5, almost 5. Mateo's 3.5
Super cute.
on the right.
Yeah, he dresses better than me.
Dude, his mama.
College.
Ready? I'm gonna put this one up too. Here we go. While we're waiting.
I think I know what it is.
This one.
Yay.
Ooh, dang.
Check out.
Name all the people you can name in the chat.
I'm gonna leave it up for a second. Name all the people you see in here that you recognize.
They're all. Let's see, we have.
There should be at least 4. Maybe 3.
Should recognize 1, 2, 3.
There's one youth camp guest speaker.
Oh, for real? Oh, yeah. Pastor. Yeah.
Let's see.
We gotta wait for that 30-second
That's
delay.
significantly less hair now.
You're a hater. You're lucky you can't find a photo of you. This is 2003, everybody. This is Aaron, Tom, and my grad year, and Kyle Lessler was our grad counselor. Kyle Lessler,
Name the location. Name that location.
Oh, they know.
Oh, come on, dude. This grad year. Nice, Terrence, Ryan, Pastor Ryan. They know Keegan.
They know Keegan.
They should.
I think most of them may not. Most of them may not.
They know. Some of them should know Matt Chin, obviously.
Some of them should.
Maybe not. Oh well. Tiff knows Matt Chin.
Yeah, Keegan.
I miss Dean.
Yeah.
Dean.
We need to reach out to him. Aaron Tom. Hello. Anybody? Aaron Tom? Ian Hung?
They don't know us. That's right, Reverend Glenn, but where?
All right, Tiff. That's for the kids to answer.
It's funny. Yeah, that's Alvin.
So left or right, it would be
I took it down.
Ryan, Dean, that's Keegan, then Jackie, Alvin on top. Right below him is Matt. There's me. To the right is you. Then the picture's gone, so I don't remember.
I don't remember that one guy that
Alan. His name's Alan.
seems Alan.
He's
This
like
is 1
Ryan's
year.
friend.
Yeah,
He's
Ryan's friend.
Yeah. I think he opened a boba place, from what I
For real?
remember. Yeah. Or something like that. It was like on Facebook a while ago.
Any other
There you go.
questions?
Any other questions? Anybody?
That is Alvin there. Yeah. Well, we'll give it maybe another 20 seconds, but thanks, man, for coming along.
Of course.
And just being part of this weird time of our youth talks. Appreciate all your thoughts, sharing your journey through college and in Arkansas with your family. And yeah, I just thanks for just your transparency, your friendship.
Absolutely.
Yeah, yeah, I'd love to hopefully get out there one time. And
Yeah, or like, it'd be cool that we do thrift a lot. By the way, Tiffany Tom, we do thrift a lot. Alexa's a really good thrifter. Yeah, absolutely. And my heart is still to be connected with the body in this way, right? There's a lot of history between us, and I still certainly. Hey, Terrence, if you scroll to the very top of that chat, you'll see the link. You'll see the link to the 2012 and the 2013. Pay attention to the chat, Terrence.
Kevin's saying, what would you do with the stimulus check?
I would probably spend it on the fact that I have 3 children now and care for them the best that I can. But no, I mean, I would be open to doing something like this again and just being community with y'all still, because I definitely have really fun. I have an investment in the youth program at FCBC because that's where I was saved, and I love y'all deeply. So
We miss you, man.
likewise.
I'm not far. Answer my text.
Well, this is probably going to be us closing. If you're a part of our youth program, we're going to have a Zoom after party. We're going to hang out, chat, play some games. So we'll send the link out on the
Ooh, can I
on
hang?
the chat on YouTube and
Can
on
hang out,
the
dude.
Facebook group.
Sweet.
And yeah, I think I just want to thank Ian again for being our guest and just sharing his life with us. Wishing your family well
Thank
during
you.
this time.
Bless y'all. Yeah.
All right, man.
Let's do it again.
Yeah. All right. Love you, brother.
Love you.
Signing off.
Now we're gonna
Catch
hang
you guys
out
on
like
next one.
a little bit longer.
Take us.